So I want to do another video on stuttering to talk about what helped me, and I figured might as well do it over a Minecraft backdrop, because I don't know, so it's not like on a black screen. Okay, so I want to try to make this kind of quick and to the point. So I let's see. When I was younger and trying to deal with it during my college years and my career years, that was kind of when I was really pressured to deal with it, and that was when I had a few eureka moments that I think really changed the severity of it and kind of changed my life going forward. And I've kind of been sharing it on and off on the stuttering Discord. So I'm trying to what's the word? I'm trying to find the best way to sum it up every time I share it. So this is me trying again. Basically, it got to a point where I got really aggravated, where I felt like, I would have to pick up the phone, and the phone I dreaded the most. And it just, I had such bad bouts where I just felt like I had enough. I felt like, why, like, this is my mindset, where like, why do I care so much if I can't control it? Like, it just felt like I had these really bad days, and no matter how much I worried, no matter what I thought about it, no matter how much I thought about it and so on, it just wasn't helping. The more I thought about it, it didn't help, and I got so sick of it. Oh, sorry. I know you guys probably can't hear this music, but I could. So I'm just gonna lower it so I can hear myself better. Sorry. So it got to where, oh my God, why is this so loud still? Sorry. So it got to where, let's see if that works. Okay. Sorry. Jeez. So it got to where I kind of threw in the towel in the sense where I got tired of thinking about it, or I got tired of worrying about it. So I thought to myself, okay, whatever the hell happens, I'm going to pick up this phone, I'm going to talk, I'm going to stutter, I'm going to allow myself to do it because I don't have a choice. It's like, this is something I can't control, so this is how I felt. Like, this is something I can't control. This is entirely chemical. No matter how hard I try, so why am I giving it the time of day? Why am I like I may as well think about something else. So that anger helped me start picking up the phone, like help me avoid less, start picking up the phone more. And during that time, I got to start noticing a few things, because like the less I cared about how people thought of my stutter, how people, how bad I sounded, like, just in general, the less I cared about the outside of my stutter, the more I was able to start focusing on what's really happening without worrying about what other people think. And I noticed a few things. Like, originally I would pick up the phone and I would get hard blocks either right away or like on my name and stuff. And I started noticing that the more I picked up the phone, no matter what I did, whether I pushed it or whether I tried to force, whether I tried to force myself through the block, or whether I stuttered on it, or I actually like repeated the word over and over, or the syllable over and over, no matter how I did it, one way or the other, no matter how tired I was, it always, the block wasn't indefinite. Like, I would always get through the conversation eventually. It was just really difficult and agonizing. But when I realized this over a short period of time, I realized that, okay, like, is this really indefinite? Because I used to think that when I was blocked, unless I tried something, unless I forced it or did something, I might be stuck in this block forever while they wait for me to say something. I realized that wasn't the case, because I started trying things. I started trying to force. I almost gave up at one point. I was just like, why am I even trying to force it out? It's tiring me. It tires the crap out of me the more I try to push it out, where I'm so fatigued, even if I got the word through, that the rest of my sentences to come I would just be so tired as I stuttered through them. I noticed, like, even when I didn't try, the block would let go on its own eventually. And it was in a very practical amount of time. It wasn't like minutes and stuff. It wasn't an indefinite amount of time. It just randomly let go. I couldn't understand the phenomenon of why I started stuttering, and I couldn't understand the phenomenon of why it randomly let go. But it gave me the sense of, it gave me more confidence, where I thought, okay, I can just pick up the phone now, or I can talk to people and just go into it, telling myself, you can stutter. It'll go away, like it always does. It's not indefinite. So again, that helped with my avoidance. Also during this, that helped me not avoid, basically. And also during this whole time, I was focusing on not thinking about it, like not trying not to dwell on it, not to like, because I would still have the bad bouts, but this time I was in this train of thought, state of mind, where I thought, okay, like it happened, there's nothing I can do about it, I'm angry enough as it is. But I see that I'm always getting through it one way or the other. Some days would be far better than other days. Some instances would be far better than other instances. Like sometimes I would block hard, every other word. Other times it would be like I would block for a few words, then be able to talk okay, depending on who, depending on what. But the less I cared, the easier it got. So this might actually be kind of obvious. I know people, a lot of stutterers probably realize that, when they're home alone, they probably don't stutter when they talk amongst themselves. But the more scary the situation is, the more pressure you feel, the worse it probably gets. And it's true. And that's where I think that's where we're able to kind of control something that feels so uncontrollable. Let me try to continue to explain that theory here. So basically, at first it was very difficult not to care in the moment, because I would block. I would still feel pressure to spit the word out. And in those severe or bad whole days or moments, I felt really bad. But like sometimes the next day, like it started where it was the next day where I really focused myself not to think about it. So the next day, I don't know if you're like alone in the car, if you can relate, or if you're just by yourself and you remember the last day, and that time that you had and how it was so hard. When I used to think about it, when I used to dwell on it, that used to kind of bring it up to the forefront. Like I used to almost feel my throat getting pinched, my vocal cords getting like that tense sensation, where I thought, man, if somebody started talking to me right now, I probably wouldn't be able to spit half the words out. I'd be blocking, I'd be stuttering. So I told myself, I don't want to think about it. Like it just, I was still in that pissed off state, and I thought, I'll think of anything else. I'll look at the trees, I'll whatever. So when you don't think about it, you're technically kind of thinking about it, because you're telling your brain what not to think about, but in order to do that, you're kind of thinking about it. So it was like this really funny, awkward phenomenon where like my brain felt heavy because my head felt heavy, because I was trying so hard not to think about something that my mind just kept wanting to go back to, because my mind felt it was important, because, I want to get better. So it's like intuitively you think that, to get better at something, you have to think about it, you have to address it. But in the case of my stutter, it's like the more I thought about it, the more I dwelled on it, the more I worried about it, the worse it got. The less I thought about it, the less I dwelled on it, the easier it got over time, especially. So that's what ended up happening. I the next day I started distracting myself. I started, like, as soon as I felt myself think about what a bad time I had, I thought, man, I'm already feeling this tension. I don't want to think about it. So I started thinking about like cars or like hobbies or random things. Again, my mind felt really heavy at first, but over time, it got faster and faster, where I really did forget about it. I really did just move on. And when I moved on, it would almost be like a reset, where now all of a sudden I feel fluent. Now, like, I don't feel that tension anymore. It's like when you're by yourself, or in the shower, let's say. Like when you're in the shower, I don't know, I'm assuming a lot of you can relate, where like if you're all alone in the shower, you feel so fluent. You feel like, oh man, I'm not going to stutter at all here. So by forgetting, it's like I let go. It's like the tightening, the grip let go. And that next day it's like a reset. I would feel like I'm in the shower and I felt like, man, if someone came up to me right now, I feel great. I'm in like this fluency state. So over time, that mindset carried over to the same day where I would have a bad bout that day. Later on, as much as I want to think about it, I'd force myself not to. And I'd forget even faster. And what it was doing was, it's not so much that I was like, it got to the point where it's not so much that I was forgetting, it's just that I was like letting myself reset back to the fluency state by not thinking about the pressure that I felt when I was stuttering, which kind of brought back, it was like a vicious cycle where the more I thought about it, the more it brought back that tension. Whereas if I just relax and even consciously try to think of how I am when I talk fluently, it kind of started leaving that fluent state where I felt like, okay, now if someone talks to me, or if the phone rings, I feel much more confident. I feel like this is how I should feel. This is how I should be talking. And sometimes when I used to think about that, again, my mind would just try to pick up like, oh, but what about what happened yesterday? It's like, no, not even gonna give it the time of day. So it got like second nature over time, and over time, and it took like a few years. It didn't happen instantly, but I started avoiding less because of this. I started not trying to avoid situations. And because I told myself like, okay, if I stutter, I'm going to let myself do it. And it's a funny phenomenon. Sometimes when you plan to do something, it doesn't happen. It's like when I plan to go see a doctor about a pain, all of a sudden that pain goes away right when I'm in the doctor's office. It's like this silly phenomenon. Like, so when I allow myself to stutter, it's like I tell myself, like it's like if you tell yourself like stutter now to show them what it's like, it's hard to do. It's like all of a sudden I can't stutter because it's so innate, where like it has more to do with pressure, or it feels like I said, when you're alone, you probably feel like you're not going to stutter. So if you tell yourself like, oh, try to stutter now, it's like, well, I'm alone, I don't feel any pressure, I'm probably not going to do it. So by telling myself like, okay, I'm going to go into this conversation where I know that if I stutter, no matter what I do, it's not indefinite. It's going to go away on its own. So I don't have anything to worry about. Whatever happens, I'm not going to dwell on it. And this is like a state of mind thing where it just got easier and easier over time, to the point where here I am. Like, whereas before, when I was, during those times, when I would stutter, when I would block, it used to cause this chain reaction where it would, I'm going to die here. Where it would like fatigue me. I don't even have food. Oh crap. I'm sorry. So where it would like fatigue me, and I would just stutter on the next word, stutter on the next and stuff. And as I'm doing it, I would think about how other people, what I sound like, what I look like, how, oh my God, how should I deal with this, and so on. And it just added more and more pressure. And it's like I forgot to allow myself to have a relief. Like, it's like I don't even allow myself to do a reset because I'm under so much pressure. I'm just in this stutter state. And it would be like a bad chain reaction, and then I would remember it the next day, and it would, it's like this self-fulfilling prophecy, where I would stutter worse and worse because of it. Whereas with this new mindset, and just not allowing myself to think that way or dwell that way, it would get easier. I would, like, even if I stuttered, I would be able to continue afterwards. I might randomly hit a stutter, depending on how I feel, I guess, like whether I want to stop myself and allow myself to feel the block let go, because it always lets go on its own. I just, just as oddly as when I stutter, just as oddly as how the stutter comes on, sometimes I can't believe how it lets go, but it does. So I was like pretty sure, like, all right, eventually it's gonna let go. So sometimes when I stutter, I either let it let go. Let me see if I can save myself. I'm gonna die. Yeah, I'm gonna die. Okay. Sorry. So I either let it, I either kind of give it a breath, wait for it to let go, or sometimes I'm like impatient. I try to push through it, knowing like, all right, I'm gonna get hung up a little on here. I'm not gonna think about it, and it's gonna let go within my my sentence. Sometimes like you'll hear me stutter and just carry on as if not anything happened. Because I just don't allow myself to dwell on it and stay in that stutter state. I'm more in the state where, I forgot to mention this. During that time when I was trying to figure out, when I was trying to, what's the word? When I was trying to not worry about it anymore, during my college to career years, basically, around that time I was actually willing to try anything, and I started going to speech therapy again. I started reading a book and stuff on how to deal with stuttering, and it would kind of give me hints on certain words, certain syllables, like hard blocks, soft blocks, how to like get like a running start to like, maybe start with like some kind of a sound like or anything, just to get like a sound going and then try to say the word. But it never like focused on the actual mental state that I'm in or anything like that. But during that speech therapy, I had this homework where I had to read out loud, and I thought, well, whatever, I'm willing to try anything. And I thought I'm not going to stutter when I read out loud because I'm all alone, but I thought maybe this will help me start the day or something, put me in this like better state of mind where I'm reading, I'm getting my vocal cords going, and maybe I'll be more confident or something down the line. But I was really shocked because I did stutter while reading out loud to myself. I didn't think that was possible, but I tripped up on a few words. And when that happened, I was able to get right out of it. Like even though I stuttered, I just want to see how she kills me. This witch. Okay, what can you do? Okay, so that's what she does, throws potions. Cool. So yeah. sorry, my bad. I would read out loud, and I catch myself stuttering, like a quick block on a word. It was really random. Like I always thought this stuff was chemical. I couldn't understand why it happens, why it just comes on out of nowhere. Here I am reading anything, and it's not like stuttering on my name or during any anticipation. I was just reading out loud by myself, and I somehow stuttered on a word or two. Like it was maybe a slight block, or I had to repeat the word a couple of times, but I would notice it, and I would continue. I would like feel the stutter, and it would just go away or something, because as soon as I decided, okay, I'm just going to continue now, I did, probably because I didn't feel any pressure, probably because I wasn't nervous at all. I was all alone. And that's when I started, that was one of the things that helped me think like, man, like if only it could be like this, like even if I can't get rid of my stutter 100% permanently, if I can be in this state of mind where I am when I read alone and just stumbled on a few words and keep going, and whatever happens, just don't think about it, like that would be ideal. I'd be grateful. That'd be more than enough. So that's the goal I strived for. I didn't know what the cure was, but I thought maybe there is a level of control that's enough for me, because either way I had to live with it. And that helped me get to where I am now. And I just, it worked so incredibly well. Like it was like this conscious effort. And it just, like I started not, like I remember I used to stutter with my brother or something. Like sometimes people would trigger the worst of it, And I remember for some reason with my brother, I'd always stutter, and it was so weird. And when I applied this mindset and everything, like I was if I was talking over the phone or all that, like I didn't care. I started not stuttering with my bro, like practically at all over time. Like I would trip on a few words, but it would be like I'm reading alone. All of a sudden, I wouldn't get hung up over them, where it would be worse and worse. I would start keeping an eye on my fatigue, where like if I start pushing through a word because maybe I was too lazy to stop, I really wanted to just spit out what I want to say and just, I don't know, go to sleep or something. Sometimes when I get that way, I start getting fatigued because I'm trying to push the words out. I start falling into like the stutter state, and I don't give it a chance to let go. Sometimes I would keep an eye on that, and just like when I'm reading out loud, I would think, no, I need this to let go. I take a quick breath or something like that, and it does. And it's not so much like in speech therapy where they tell you slow down, talk slow. Sure, that might work, but I don't need to. I can talk super, super fast and be absolutely fine. I just might need to take a breath when I feel the block. So that's the big difference between, like, that's one of the big differences between when I really try to delve into this personally and you know, thought of this mindset versus the speech therapy classes that I took, where it kind of delved at like the micro level, where, like, you know, each individual stutter, how to deal with, like, you know, the syllables and what I'm going through and slow down and whatnot. This is more like a macro level way I was trying to deal with this, where I was where it was like a mindset thing, where it was like trying to get to where I was when I was reading out loud all by myself. All right, man, I'm pretty sure this video is getting really long. So this is what I went through that over time brought me to where I am now, to where if I trip up on anything, I can probably get right back on track. Whereas, and here I am, like, right now, whereas before, if I trip up on stuff, it can cause like a chain reaction where I start worrying. I start, like, it puts more pressure. The mind is a very powerful thing. Now, I have to stress, like, I'm not cured. I'm not like 100% cured. It's more like if you know integrals, where the line gets closer and closer to to the point that you're looking for, to the point where it doesn't even matter anymore. That's God, knock on, like, I like, that's how. I almost said knock on wood as if it's luck, but like, sometimes, like, I'm just really grateful, like, you know, it almost feels too good to be true sometimes, but I'm not fully, like, cured. It's like, it's not 100%. Like, when I talk to new customers, when I meet new people, I tend to stutter, and I don't know if it's because I don't want to take the time to, like, try to relax or something, but I tend to get hyped up, and I do stutter, and it's like the situation might be difficult, and I feel like fatigued, like, man, like, maybe I'm trying too hard. But I don't let that, if I have these moments where I've had a bad bout, even now I'm talking about, again, I would not, as soon as I stop or as soon as I get in the car, I'm like, I'm not going to think about that. And it's like an off switch I hit, where I'm like, okay, I know what it's like to be fluent, because I feel it right now. I'm totally calm. If somebody talks to me now, that's it. It's like a reset. I feel good. Whereas if I allowed myself to dwell on that bad time that I just had, it would persist throughout the day, throughout the week. It just gets worse and worse. So, like, the mind is a powerful thing, for what I went through, and I can't believe, like, this effect that it had, because I always thought it was like entirely chemical. I thought that the people that stuttered severely versus mild, that's just their stutter, that it's just chemically the way they are. But for me, it was always like, some days were bad, some days were not, but I didn't know that I could that there's, like, you know, that the mindset can help as much as it has for me. And I really want to share it. Like, I really, really hope it helps somebody else, you know? So, but yeah, this video is getting really long. If anyone wants me to elaborate on anything, or, you know, talk about anything specific, I'll be glad to. I just want to kind of end it here, because I'm afraid this is, like, getting to, like, a half hour. I hope this is only like 10 or 20 minutes. I really hope this helps. Take care.